Hello and welcome back to another Gunpla review. Today we'll be taking a look at the high-grade Universal Century RX-75 Guntank. A lot of people don't like the Guntank, and I don't really get why. It's a pretty cool design, honestly. And also people who say it doesn't make sense in space don't know what they're talking about, since you don't need legs in space, but I digress. This is a kit from the year 2000. So, don't expect too much articulation, and I mean, it's the Guntank, so don't expect too much articulation. But anyway, without further ado, let's start off the review by taking a look at that articulation. Alright, starting off, you have the head on a ball joint, and yes, this is all the movement it gets. That's how much up and down it gets. I mean, obviously it's blocked because of the cannons, which thankfully are hinged, and there is a seam line here. It's not actually that bad. It looks worse on camera than it does in person. We don't go that far. It's on a polycap, so it does get to rotate a little bit, though not a ton. And you move down to the shoulders, which 90 out to the side, full rotation. There is a rotation actually here on a polycap. Then there's a hinge there, as well as a second hinge here, and I mean, this can rotate, but no real need to do that. Surprisingly, it does have double jointed elbows, despite basically getting 45 degrees. I mean, it can still pull off poses, so it's not a big deal, but yeah. And then you come to the waist. And that's it. Yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a brick, but it's the Guntank, so kind of fitting. So the Guntank doesn't come with any accessories. I mean, it's the Guntank, and since the articulation was so short, I just wanted to go over color correction, which is also going to be pretty short because the Guntank is almost completely color accurate. All of this yellow is color separated. All of the outside of the wheels, we'll get to that, are color separated. The arms are gray. The head is, I mean, you have to paint the pilot, but it comes with a clear visor and a detailed cockpit, and the head is completely color separated. Honestly, all you need to do is put a bit of panel lining on it, and it's good to go. Obviously, what I did was I painted the pilot. I have a video of that. I painted the barrels with sort of a soot effect on them, which honestly, it was just because it was a little bit plain with all the gray. Apparently the tracks are supposed to be the same lighter gray, but honestly I kind of prefer how it looks with the darker gray tracks, so not going to complain. There is one complaint I have though, and yeah, it's not coming off. These panels are separate. You can't even really see it, but there's basically a plate that goes onto the side, and that's the same blue plastic, and as you can see from the light hitting it, I had to paint that completely gray. And you can kind of see it in here. All the wheels along here that are gray would be blue if I didn't paint them. So that's a pretty minor detail, but if you look for it, you'll notice it, and then it might annoy you. It doesn't really matter, but it annoyed me enough to have to paint it, so. That said, not that big a deal. It was one color on two pieces. I will say on mine, the polycap on this one's a little bit dodgy, so. Oh, now it doesn't want to come down. Yeah. And of course, the treads are pegged in on this wheel. So you wrap them around and they peg in here, so they don't move, but I mean, you can slide it along if you wanted to. Now, time for a size comparison, and the Guntank is a pretty bulky little guy, honestly. It's not super tall. I mean, it's a good 2 or 3 heads shorter than your average high grade, but very wide, and there's a lot of mass going into that tank section. I mean, you can see it's almost as long as this, so yeah, you do get a fairly bulky kit out of this, despite, you know, it's a Guntank. So, to wrap this review up, a little bit of a shorter one, but I mean, there's not a lot to go over with the Guntank. There's a little things that I kind of wish they had done differently with it, but it is a kit from 2000, so, you know, if they were going to make a revive, it would definitely fix all those issues. And honestly, the issues I do have aren't that serious anyway. Considering the price, and this is a fairly cheap kit, it does the job. It's a completely fine Guntank. There's nothing wrong with it. A little bit of painting if you want, but even then, it's not that bad. You could straight build this and put it on your shelf and it would look fine. It's not exactly the most posable thing, but I mean, like I said, it's the Guntank, it doesn't have to be. But for the price, I think it's worth it. Anyway, that's been all for this review. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, it helps a lot. Subscribe for future reviews, hit the bell so you're notified of them. And as always, until next time, happy building.